I got my first kiss on Christmas, and it tasted like peppermint hot chocolate and possibility. The thing about being 23 and never having been kissed is that everyone assumes you're either tragically inexperienced or pathologically picky. The truth was simpler and more boring. I just never met anyone who made my heart forget its rhythm. Until Gabriel Junkala walked into Murphy's Books, my family's bookstore, on December 23rd, looking lost and desperate and unfairly handsome in a charcoal coat dusted with snow. "Please tell me you have a copy of The Velveteen Rabbit," he said, his dark eyes scanning the holiday-decorated shelves with something close to panic. "It's my Nana's favorite, and I completely forgot to order it online," and he stopped, seeming to realize he was rambling to a complete stranger. "Sorry, hi, I'm catastrophically disorganized." I laughed and something shifted in my chest. "You're in luck, I'm catastrophically overprepared." I led him to the children's section, where I'd stocked extra copies of every classic imaginable. "Sonia Murphy," I said, pulling down a pristine hardcover edition. "Official rescuer of Christmas gift emergencies." "Gabriel," he said, and when his fingers brushed mine taking the book, I felt it everywhere. "You might have just saved my life. Nana would never forgive me." He should have left then, paid and disappeared into the snowy Chicago evening like every other last-minute shopper. Instead, he lingered near the register while I wrapped his book in sage green paper, asking about my favorite novels, whether I'd always worked here, if I liked the Joni Mitchell playing softly through the speakers. His questions felt like invitations, like he was building a bridge between us out of words. "Do you have plans tomorrow, Christmas Eve?" he asked as I handed him his package. My pulse kicked up. Working until close. Someone has to hold down the fort while everyone else is being festive. "What time do you close?" "6. He smiled, slow and certain. "I'll bring you dinner." I should have said no. Should have reminded myself that meet cutes only happened in the books I sold, not in real life. But instead I heard myself say, "I like pad thai," and watched him grin like I'd just given him the best present of the season. Christmas Eve arrived with fresh snow and the particular magic that only that day possesses, when the whole world seems to hold its breath in anticipation. The bookstore was busy until 4, then gradually emptied as families retreated to their celebrations. By 5:30, I was alone, restocking shelves and trying not to watch the clock like a teenager waiting for prom. Gabriel arrived at 6:03 with 2 bags of takeout and a smile that made my carefully rebuilt composure crumble. "Pad thai as promised," he said, "plus spring rolls, mango sticky rice, and..." He produced a thermos with a flourish, "peppermint hot chocolate from the best cafe in Lincoln Park, because I'm trying to be impressive." "It's working," I admitted, and his smile widened. We sat on the floor behind the counter, backs against the wall of local authors, and talked while snow fell past the windows and fairy lights twinkled overhead. He told me about his job as a physical therapist, about his enormous Italian family, about how his Nana had raised him after his parents died when he was 12. I told him about inheriting my love of books from my Irish grandfather, about studying literature, but choosing to work here instead of teaching, about feeling like I was waiting for my real life to begin. "Maybe this is your real life," Gabriel said softly. "Maybe it's been here all along and you just needed the right person to help you see it." The air between us felt charged, electric. I'd read hundreds of romance novels, memorized 1,000 descriptions of wanting someone, but nothing had prepared me for this. The actual physical ache of sitting inches from someone and wondering if they felt it too. "Can I tell you something?" he said, setting down his empty container. "I didn't forget to buy that book." I blinked. "What?" "I came in 3 days ago, bought the book then. I came back because..." He ran a hand through his dark curls, suddenly vulnerable. "Because I couldn't stop thinking about you. About the way you talked about books like they were old friends, the way you smiled at the kids who came in, the way you noticed I was stressed and made a joke to calm me down. I made up an excuse to see you again." My heart was doing impossible things in my chest. That's either really romantic or slightly stalkerish. I was hopping for romantic. He shifted closer, his knee touching mine. Tell me if I'm reading this wrong. Tell me if you don't feel this too. I didn't tell him anything. Instead, I closed the distance between us and kissed him. It was soft and tentative at first, a question more than an answer. But then his hand came up to cup my face, gentle and sure, and I melted into him. He tasted like chocolate and peppermint and something uniquely him, something I instantly knew I'd crave forever. The world condensed to just this. His lips on mine, his heartbeat thundering against my palm pressed to his chest, the soft sound he made when I threaded my fingers through his hair. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he pressed his forehead to mine. Merry Christmas, Sonia Murphy. Merry Christmas, Gabriel Junkala. That was 3 years ago. We're married now, got engaged exactly 1 year after that kiss, standing in the same spot in the bookstore, surrounded by books and fairy lights, and the ghost of who we used to be before we found each other. His Nana came to the wedding with her worn copy of The Velveteen Rabbit and told everyone who would listen that she knew from the moment Gabriel mentioned me that I was the one. We still spend Christmas Eve at Murphy's Books. It's tradition now. We close early, order pad thai, and sit behind the counter kissing like we're making up for all the years we spent waiting for each other. Sometimes customers tap on the window and we wave back, unbothered by the interruption. Because the thing about getting your first kiss on Christmas is that it ruins you for all other holidays. Nothing will ever taste as sweet as peppermint hot chocolate and possibility. Nothing will ever feel as magical as finding someone who makes your heart forget its rhythm and then teaches it a new song entirely. Gabriel says I'm romanticizing it, that any kiss would have felt earth-shattering because I'd waited so long. But he's wrong. I'd waited because I was waiting for him, for someone who would come back, who would bring pad thai and honesty, who would take my face in his hands like I was something precious, and kiss me like we had all the time in the world. I got my first kiss on Christmas, and I've been celebrating ever since.